Hey, today is Friday, June 9th, and we are going to be getting ready this evening. Tomorrow's going to be our first travel day in a little while. We've been here in Omaha for a while with some medical stuff, and so we are going to head down to Red Bay tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, both days. Actually, it's a long trip, and we'll have to push longer than we like to go on a normal travel day and get there over the weekend. And then we'll settle in for some warranty stuff with Tiffin, and then we got some third-party stuff we're having done with third-party vendors while we're down there. We've got appointments made. So sometime today we'll have to get the car out, because one of our travel day things is we pick up a large pizza to make the meals Saturday in particular easier on us. We have the front of the trailer here that needs to be tightened up, packed up, strapped down. So we'll be getting started on that this evening and head to get some pizza. And we're looking forward to a travel day. It's been a while. We actually were going to leave. Original plans, everything's changed a million times, and we were going to leave June 9th to go north for cooler temps this summer. And medical stuff has us here in Omaha for a prolonged time now. So we do have the ability to get down to Red Bay and knock out the warranty stuff within our first year. Once we get back, we'll have to be here for an extended period. So we won't be able to do that between now and October if we don't do it right now. So we're going to go see some family. There's actually Rhoda's brother and his wife and kids live at a little further than halfway to Red Bay. So we'll stop there Saturday night near them. We'll be 20 minutes from them, so that's really cool. They've built a new house, and we haven't seen them in quite a while. So it'll be fun to stop and see them and kind of keep that part of our traveling plan, is to see people along the way when we can. And I mean, this couldn't have worked out better. It's literally right in the path. So anyway, we'll do an update as we travel and share the Red Bay details as well. Before travel day, we like to do several tasks the night before to make the morning that much shorter. One of the things we do is take down the magnet shades off the windows. We take it off all the tires that we can reach. For the back tires, the magnet shade covers are tough to get off with the air out of the bus. So once we start the engine and it airs up and lifts, then we'll take those off. The trailer tire covers are easy to get off. The ladder's up because I'm going to take Starlink down this evening here in a bit. Put the dish and the router there into the box for travel, and then we will disconnect the water and the water intake, as well as the dump hose and the water filter. Put all those away. So all we'll be connected to overnight is the electric power cord here, and we will live off the freshwater tank as well as just our gray and our black tank for the evening and the morning, and that makes morning just move a lot faster. This is the campground we've been staying at for the last 2 months, and we'll come back to for some period of time. Even though this Nebraska cornfield isn't Montana or some of the other truly stunning states, it has a beauty all of its own, and we do enjoy being here. While I was packing up to go this evening, I found this little friend. I've always had a fondness for toads and frogs and turtles and stuff, so I had to make sure not to do any damage to this little guy while I was doing the work. Didn't want to step on him or squish him with any of this stuff. My daughter Emma is also particularly fond of these little critters, so I thought I'd catch a video of it. So we have a little bit of before and after here. Satellite dish is down for Starlink. All the water, filter, everything is picked up and put away. Power cords. The only power cord left is the 50 amp for the house. We'll run that tonight. And then a power cord into the trailer to give us lights there. I was able to get the other tire covers off without waiting for us to start the engine. I forgot they come off easier. They go on very difficult when the house is down, so I did get these removed today, so that's done. And then inside here, Rhoda got in and strapped everything to the front. I just finished strapping in the car, so both sides have all 4 tires strapped like this. And then the hitch in the back, I actually have strapped, tying it back to the floor into 2 D-rings, just further giving us They built it to keep this from becoming a problem for us. So we should be able to get up and out early tomorrow with minimal effort. Hey, we made it to Red Bay, Alabama. It was really great to get on the road again after 2 months parked. So we've been looking forward to getting down here and letting Tiffin take care of a few things for us. In the first year, they will fix a lot of stuff under warranty. You can see the cars gonna be parked behind us back there, and way behind me back there, you can see the trailer in the distance. They got a little lot for trailers. And then this is the service center parking. So you can see a lot of this whole row, both sides, is people that are here to get warranty work done. And a friend of mine asked, are there a lot of people that are getting work done? It's like, yeah, there's a lot of these things out there. Of course, there's always gonna be, 30, 40, 50 slots down here filled up. Some people are waiting to get the work completed. Some people are in line waiting for their turn, which is where we are. So this building over here is all the service bays. You see all those doors. So there's different bays for different types of work, and different bays have different demands. So the bay you need might have a several day wait time or more. So it literally, the system here is you show up and you sign in and you're in line. And when they're ready for you, they give you a call and you let them know you're ready, and they come get your rig and work on it. They pick it up at 7:30 or so in the morning, 7:30 or 8:30, I can't remember. And then they're done by 3. And so you're living in it every night here. The sites all have full hookups, and it's free to stay here for first year owners. So the work should all be free under warranty. The stay is free. We just had diesel to get down here. Had a couple long days, so way longer than we like to drive. Saturday was 9 hours total from when we left at 6:40 in the morning and arrived at 3:40. Rhoda has a brother and family a little over halfway down here, so we planned to stop and visit them for the evening, and that was really fun. And then got up this morning, Sunday, and booked it on down to Red Bay, got checked in, and meeting a lot of nice Tiffin owners. You have this sudden instant bond, and people are super friendly, as we've noticed at other places. But we all own this brand, and everyone seems to enjoy it, or they wouldn't have it, I suppose. But we'll do some reports on the work that we get done and how the improvements have turned out. Here's a short video from a different perspective while we're here, just to let people get their bearings. Straight ahead is the campground. There's the edge of the campground, and it goes all the way up and down this way. This is the end of that big building I've been showing in my other videos. You can walk through this doorway here and get through all the bays. Kind of a big open space. There's the Allegro Club. Underneath that awning that you see there is the door to get in. Here on this side door is the new entrance to the new pet lounge that will be at this location. And these are the mechanical bays. So of all the bays, the mechanical, I've heard, just recently moved down here. I don't know where they used to be, but they moved things around to try to make things better and better. So just a little perspective on the space and where we've been and how it works here at Tiffin. One of the things you can do while you're down here is take tours of the different Tiffin facilities. And we did the Red Bay factory tour on Tuesday. They only do them certain days at certain times. They're listed on the wall all over the place here. So I took Tuesday morning off, and we went over, and it takes an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever. They actually walk you through the production line, and you see from the scraps of lumber where they make the interior handcrafted wood pieces. You see all the raw parts being formed, and then you see them at each stage putting it together. And then at the end you have a completed motorhome, and then it goes off to be painted at a different facility. We'll take that tour on a different day on Thursday in Belmont. Alright, this morning I came out. We had heard several engines starting and stuff, and this entire row across from us was full last night, and many of them are gone. And by gone I mean they're across the way over there. You can see all the bay doors open. That's where they work on them. So when it's your turn, you get a call the night before and you're told, and then early the next morning you drive your rig around the horn down here, past the security gate, and into the bay number that they told you, and then they get working on it. So that's kind of the process. I'll keep updating. This is new to us. We've been reading about it on some Facebook groups for a while, but we're here finally doing it. Basically, you get in line. When you get here, you check in. Now you're in line. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days before it's your turn, and then it could take a day or a month and a half to get all your work done, depending on how much stuff's on their list and how their labor staffing looks and parts availability and stuff like that. So it's not like an appointment or anything, which frustrates some people, but you just have to plan ahead and know that once you get down here, you're gonna stick around until all the stuff is done. And these guys do the best work in the industry, and this is where you want to bring your Tiffin. These are the guys that literally make them, and so they have the best tools and training and expertise to make right any flaws and problems and issues that may have come up. A little more video about the experience of being here at Tiffin in Red Bay. We're in site number 25, which is behind me. Down here is the main building, the main office when you come in. That's where you check in. There's bathrooms and showers. The building to the left there, that you can't quite see, is the old store. They've closed that down and since moved it inside the service center itself with a counter that you go up to, and they bring you the parts. And then if you walked along these two sets of buildings behind all those buses towards this building, there's a gate in the fence that you see and you can get in. There's a few work bays here. Underneath that flag that you can barely see there, that corner of the building with these 3 open bay doors is where the Allegro Club is, and that is where we can sit and hang out and work and have complimentary beverages and snacks and stuff. And then this longer fence here has another gate here where we can pop in if we wanted to go into this building. This is where the store is, where we can go up to the counter and buy spare parts and stuff. And then later when it's our turn, we'll drive down past this guard shack and drive in past that cone and pull into the bay where they'll do our work. After you've been waiting for a day or a week, one evening or one morning, you'll get a phone call and you're told it's your turn and which bay to go to. So the next day by 7 a.m. you want to be rolling into your bay number, and you'll see that you're greeted by the technician who's going to do your work each day, and then every day after you will roll in again until they are finished with you. Each day you get your rig back at 3, go back to your site, set up, and wait for the next day. Alright, so something we've learned while we've been here in Red Bay the last 2 weeks is if you put tape on the outside of your rig and you end up in the Tiffin paint shop, which we will be in for some touch-up stuff, they will charge you a $500 fee for removing the tape. So I'm out here removing tape and getting all the sticky residue off, and I'm hoping to avoid that fee. We haven't been to the paint bay yet. We've got another week in the tech bay, and then we'll have to hit cabinetry and paint soon after that. So just out here taking care of that to avoid that overcharge fee. So on Friday the 16th, we got our call and we rolled into the bay, and then we found our way over to the Allegro Club. The Wi-Fi was great. There were probably between 6 and 15 people sitting in there at any time. Mostly it was quiet. Some people were doing work phone calls. Some people broke out board games. Rhoda and I had this nice table to sit at and work on. They provide bottled water, which is nice, and they have complimentary beverages and some snacks, and donations are accepted for those if you wish. But there's couches and chairs and tables and just different seating opportunities there. And then there's a patio outside, mostly for people that have animals, but anybody that wants to sit outside in the cool of the morning. Wi-Fi works out there, of course. And then there's a couple of employees to answer questions or help, and then there's a few things to buy there, and like a gift shop, and then a bathroom. So very comfortable space to sit while the work is being done.
Rest okay. And this one should be pulled down,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
Then this is the neck. You're going to skip that.
Let's skip that.
Put the
So the weekends so far seem to be pretty quiet. They have the shop shut down. The workers get the weekend off, which is great. And Red Bay is pretty tiny, so I'm not sure where people run off to do things, or if everybody just kind of hangs out and has a quiet weekend. But we've seen a lot of people out walking around, a few people riding bikes. So we took a bike ride this morning. I'm heading over. Now I'm going to the trailer, put away our helmets and get our bike chargers out and get our bikes charged back up. We've got them drained pretty low after the last few rides. We don't go super far, 5 to 10 miles at most, typically. But we just rode around Red Bay and took in the views, just a bunch of little houses and stuff. So we'll include that in the video too. We saw this chassis that looks like it would belong to our future motorhome like ours. And then we saw just tons and tons of areas around town with chassis prepared and ready to go. And sometimes it wasn't chassis, sometimes it was animals in people's yards. All right, this quick update. It is Thursday, July 16th. We arrived June 11th. We've been through a main bay. Spent almost 3 weeks there, then had a day off on a Friday where we didn't get in any other bays. Then we had to go to paint, and then we got into paint. That took 2 full days. They did some touch-up stuff, so that we appreciate that good work. Got done with paint Tuesday of this week, and Wednesday and Thursday now we've done nothing. We're in line for mechanical, and we don't know how long that line is. We don't know how long it takes. But we need them to just double check and make sure that all of our hydraulic jacks are in good shape. And then from there we get in line for cabinetry. Don't know how long that takes. And then we need to go back to an express bay, and they did not get something in the bathroom done. They couldn't get a piece in time, so we'll have to go back and get that piece finished up. And then hopefully we're out of here. So that's the plan. That's how it's going. It is really slow, but they do really good work. And again, we have full hookups here. The sites aren't fancy, but full hookups for free for the duration. So that for us, that also means, you know, free fuel for the car. So all of our sightseeing has basically been free of cost, essentially, on the weekends when we go places. So this is where we are for now. We expect to be here probably through next week. We have a buffer of being able to stay 1 more week beyond that, but we'd rather not. So we'll stay and get things done though, because we're here, and we'll do it while we're here. During the paint tour this week, we got to see how they leak test these things. I'll share that video. But we have a leak test rolling in right now. Some pretty heavy thunderstorms coming in. So we're going to get to see if everything's buttoned up and watertight here. Some of the third-party stuff we had done, for example, was adding this awning over the back window when it's hot out and the sun's beating on that window. It really brings in a lot of heat. So we had that awning put on. It's going to make a big difference. We also had one put over these 2 windows. Huge difference. They do great work. It's the company that builds the awnings that go on new, and they're located here in Red Bay, so it's easy to get an appointment while you're here. These are simple. There's a pull down strap right here. We've got a metal pole they gave us to pull this down and latch it to this little spot here. So less failure points, very easy peasy to use, and very effective at keeping the heat off these windows. Here's a quick glimpse of the new awning from inside. I just pulled it down, so when the sun comes over to this side today, it will block that sun. So it is a good heat blocker. We have one on the back as well. So here is the outside of the new awning that we had installed on the side. Helps a ton. You can feel the heat immediately reduce when you pull this out when the sun's beating on that side. And here's the back window at the bedroom with it deployed. They're really high quality, good awnings. They really do the job. And this awning was built in when we got it new. But this strip here that starts here, basically, this inch wide strip that goes all the way up and down. On the back side of it, on the left side of this picture, a long strip of it peeled open. and actually was like this 1-inch gaping hole for several feet. So we ended up taping that shut to keep moisture out, but they were able to correctly repair that and reseal it. So that was a really good fix to get done as well. This slide had gotten a little wonky, and along here there were some gouges, clearly some shiny metal showing where this gouged at some point. So along the process here, Tiffin replaced this whole strip here, and then of course tuned up the slide not to do that anymore. Also in this spot, same area as the gouged slide we had, there was actually some cracking, several hairline stress fractures along here. It's not terribly uncommon, but in the paint shop, she was able to completely replace that piece of fiberglass. So the structural damage is fixed, and then apply paint that is perfect, because again, this is Tiffin. They build these things. When they repair them, they do it exactly right. Another repair item we had done by Tiffin was there's a little tiny camera up here, and from the day we got it, the image from that camera was not clear at all. It looked dirty. I figured I'd just clean it, and there was no cleaning it. It was permanently damaged. The image was never clear. Anyway, they just popped that out and replaced it with a new one, and now it's a crystal clear image. Another repair point was when we first got it, these two windows, the one on the right at the bottom down here where they come together at the bottom, slightly overlapped the one on the other side on the left there. So there was a chance if we only ever opened the one on my right in this video, because there was a chance that the glass would break each other by rubbing. So they essentially just removed this whole window and replaced it and put it on correctly. Some of the other stuff they fixed, I won't read the whole list. We had at least 50 items, largely cosmetic, some a little more significant. We had some leaking into our bathroom window, which we got stopped along the way just by trial and error until we got it to stop. But the technician in Bay 17 for us, Nathan, actually sealed the gutter that runs the full length of the coach on both sides. He sealed the front and back side of that, the full length. So any leaking that was happening there would be resolved, and that's basically what I had done, a 2 or 3 foot stretch of that myself to get the leaking to stop. There was 4 tiles that were damaged by the slides not moving in or out right, or the closet doors when they weren't working right, gouged the floor in a couple places. There was one that had a big gap between the 2 of the floor tiles by the couch, and they replaced everything on the floor tiles to make those all look perfect and new. The microwave door was damaged upon delivery. The door was dented in a couple places, and they talked about replacing the door or maybe the whole microwave, but it turns out they got a whole new microwave in. And even though the microwave before was nice with a convection oven that worked really well, and it just looked really sharp, the one they replaced it with was actually a pretty significant upgrade over the one we had before. It includes an air fryer function, has Wi-Fi, which is kind of silly, but I activated it just to see what it would do, and it gives you alerts on your phone, and you can do some basic controls of the microwave. But anyway, so that was nice that we saw that they just replaced that. But we saw at Home Depot today in Tupelo that same microwave, and it's an $800 microwave, so they just it was nice that they just swapped that in there for us. What else did they do here? Just reading through our list a little bit, trying to give you some highlights of things we had fixed while we were here. We kept getting some reports of the chassis battery voltage being low from time to time, and then every time we leveled at the end, the level panel said low voltage, and so we had to look at that in mechanical. And the Lippert guy, there's actually a Lippert employee on site, and he was saying that the panel was reading 12 point something volts and it should have been 13 something. So he had us open the battery bay, and one of the terminals, there's 2 chassis batteries and 4 house batteries, and one of the terminals on the chassis battery was actually loose. In fact, it was very loose, and that actually fixes several problems, including one where going down the road we would see low chassis battery warning. And essentially the system balances. It'll use the house battery and the alternator to keep the house batteries kind of boosted up but not necessarily full, but then it bounces back and forth between that and keeping the chassis system charged where it should be. So with that cord, that wire on the battery loose all this time, some of the odd errors that we were seeing, including the leveling system low voltage every time we used it at the end. All that went away. So just and he actually turned it 6/4 turns to get that tight enough based on how loose it was. Let's see, our entry stairs started making a creaky noise, and even though I lubricated them a lot of times, we were afraid the step motor was going out because that's not uncommon. But the technician just said they needed, he taught me more loop locations on there. I was hitting the obvious ones, but up underneath there's some additional moving joints that I needed to hit, and so he just got those all lubed up for us. Let's see, some of the bay doors didn't close easily, so they tune up the bay doors to make them close better. He actually stuffed all the holes underneath. He crawled up underneath and sprayed foam into every hole that you could possibly see. There was a really big one that got left undone, and so he got that covered. So hopefully that'll help us keep mice out. We've only had, in 8.5 months, we had one mouse in Guyman, Oklahoma one time, and our kitty cat had discovered it quickly and alerted us to that. So we set a trap and caught it within hours. There was a light assembly up over the bed that would fall real easily. It wasn't in there real tight. They actually did a major thing with the air conditioning. We were able to stay cool but not cold, and essentially one of the air vents over the bed over the cab was catching most of the air, and he was saying how with that air hitting the end of the run right there, it was blowing a lot of air into the ceiling where we couldn't benefit from it. So they offered to cut another hole on the outflow side of the AC right in front of the front door, and they said that would dump a lot of air into the house and then still leave a little bit of airflow going to the bunk, so if somebody was sleeping up there. And sure enough, it's dumping like a deep freeze, a cold air right out. And so the very next day after that air conditioner update, we had a 96-degree day here, and the humidity's obviously high in Alabama in the summer, and we were literally cold. We had to warm the thermostat up to 74 or 75 to keep from being just super cold. So that was a great improvement for us. We've seen other Tiffin models in the park and met other owners and looked inside each other's rigs just to get ideas on what people do for organization and whatnot. And we can see that hole is not there on them. So we've been telling people, ask for that to be done, because it is a dramatic improvement to your air conditioner. Another item we had done by a third party while down here was, you've seen the videos of our water filter that sits on the ground outside the rig. And although it works really well, if it's going to be freezing temperatures, we have to bring that in somehow. It's too big and too heavy to fit inside of our wet bay or in the basement anywhere where it's heated. So we did install a very similar functioning, same micron, 0.2 micron, by a different company. It's smaller and lighter, it costs less money. And we found a plumber down here. There's several of them, but there's a guy that does a whole lot of plumbing work for Tiffin people, and we got him to install that permanently inside where it's heated. While we were at it, since we've come across some pretty hard water in our travels, we went ahead and added a water softener as well. So we're excited to see how that does when we get back to Greenwood, Nebraska. The water there is very hard, lots of white dust all over everything, and the ice ends up with stuff that melts out of it. But the water in Alabama, where we've been here, is perfect. We'd like to take it all with us, but we can't. So we haven't been able to really see the value of that water softener here, because the water is already really great. And but we're looking forward to testing that out in some hard water areas. Another change we got done at Tiffin was these sideboards on each side. Were not installed on ours. We visited with new friends in the campground there who had the same motorhome we do, and they had them, so we asked for them, and Tiffin was glad to just pop those on there for us. Previously, when this shade was down, there was a small gap on either side. Now it blacks it out completely for nighttime and whatnot. Another piece of the puzzle, when they tightened the chassis battery hot wire that was loose and needed 6/4 turns to tighten, our jack controller here stopped giving us a low voltage error after every time we used it. And then this guy, the charging light would blink from time to time. That was an indicator we didn't realize was the case. And we knew that when we were driving, the system was supposed to charge the house batteries as we drove. but ours was always down to, 75% or 50%. So we assumed it was charging, but slow and didn't help a ton, but maybe helped a little. Well, with that battery tightened, now when we arrive, the house is still at 100%, which is very cool. That means we could easily stay overnight if we did not need air conditioners and just live off the batteries and the inverter. Previously, these drawers slid open freely. Now they've got the latch put on, and they didn't move easily. So I say they slid open freely, but that meant when we're driving they slid open, but when we pulled on them, they were kind of rough. And so they got all of those fixed and smoothed out and latching like they should. This bathroom door shuts this way, you saw in the tour video. But this way, if we always assumed it was because it wasn't level or the right level, we couldn't latch here. We simply told the guy and he made it work, and it has worked ever since. So I'm pretty sure he made the receiving hole over here a little bit larger, but we love the result that has given us. It's so nice to be able to close the door easily. Both of our closet doors upon delivery were not working. The bottom of the door was hanging loose. There were ball bearings on the floor. We just kind of made do with it while we waited, but now they open smoothly as they should, and they close smoothly. We also did not have closet lights before, so there's a motion sensor in here. We noticed again on some new friends that we met who had the same motorhome as us that they had lights in their closet. So we asked Tiffin, and sure enough, the wires were not brought through the wall, but they were in place on the other side of that wall. So they were able to easily bring the wires through and install a strip of LED lights with this motion sensor. And then the door latches neatly as we would expect. This is a minor one, but there was a screw holding this guy in place, this hinge here, that was sticking out quite a bit, and it made a loud popping sound as the hinge was allowed to slide when we closed it. So I never opened it all the way, I just opened it part way and put stuff in. I was trying to drive it in myself, but it didn't want to budge and I didn't want to break something. The technician said it was a good thing I didn't, because they had put too long of a screw in that spot on the hinge. So when he replaced it with a shorter screw, it sunk right in, and now that stays in place and closes quietly as it should. I don't have a before video, but there was tearing of this fabric on our headboard up here, so they took that down and recovered that. But then they took the extra step to make the adjustments to the mattress and the frame where it sits, and made sure that as this slide comes in and the mattress bends up on the top 2/3, that the mattress and the bed frame don't continue to do damage there. So it was nice that they did that extra above and beyond. This little light was loose. It could actually fall down easily. They got that tightened up. Some of this stuff was minor, stuff we probably could have figured out and done. It was so nice to roll into Red Bay at the Tiffin Service Center and let them just do it all. This sliding door to our bedroom worked. It wasn't perfect. It just had some glitches and issues from time to time, and he reset the frame that it sits on down there and made it work exactly as it should, so that's a nice upgrade. Here's a big one. This bathroom window had a small leak when it rained out. We noticed it on the very first trip from Montana where we picked this up. There'd be a small amount of water coming in down at the bottom here. So we pulled over at the first rest area, and I got some duct tape out and went on the outside of the window and sealed that off. The water was still coming in. Turns out the water was coming in up at the roof, at the drain. There's a gutter along the entire length. So he sealed that end to end, and that stopped this leak. And then because of the leak, this material that was on this back wall had bubbled up a little bit. And so they replaced it with this nifty board and chair rail. It looks fantastic. They also peeled that paper off, sprayed it down with bleach to make sure there was nothing growing, let it dry, and then put this over top. Here's a nice change we got done. Even though it's a small thing, it's very nice to have it fixed. This used to dangle a little bit. We thought, oh man, the nice ones have magnets to hold them up here. So we just kind of got used to it, not going all the way back in. I thought maybe I'd buy some rare earth magnets and try to attach them. But we put it on the list, and when Tiffin looked at it, the guy said that there's a weight down there basically holding this to let it do this every single time. And the weight was put on the opposite side of where it should have been, so it wasn't providing the amount of counterweight that was needed. But when he moved it, it's one of those little tiny things that's just amazing every time we use it for a while. And then the last few third-party things we had done was have the engine maintenance done, the generator maintenance, and the aqua hot maintenance all done. Those should be done once a year at least. We used a company called Vina RV in a nearby town called Vina. We also had Nick Brewer attach a external antenna to the roof. This gives us better 4G, 5G reach from the router. Wires come from that antenna down into where the router is. It also broadcasts our Wi-Fi from the top of the roof, as well as can pick up outside Wi-Fi signals from that antenna. So Nick did a great job. We also had the tank flushed, gray and black tanks. You get a professional with a high pressure system up in there, and it's just good to clean those out. It helps the sensors be more accurate, and just cleans all that out that can accumulate over time. So that was very productive. And then we would give 2 thumbs up to all of those. We used Thomas Scott for the tank flush as well for that. And then April Fowler has a concierge service and a detailing shop. She and her husband run together. The Happy Host is her concierge service. We highly recommend her. She knows the area really well. She knows all the vendors. You just send her a list of the things you want to get done, and she will point you to the right people and set up your calendar, schedule all that for you if you tell her what week you're coming and stuff like that. And then she can give you all kinds of friendly advice about the area and how to work and coordinate Tiffin versus the outside vendors. She's a gem. She is very fair with what she charges for that, and really saved us a ton of time trying to figure everything out, even after using Facebook groups like a Red Bay roll call and stuff where people share that kind of info freely. But April is a sweetie and very helpful, and we would point anybody to her as well. And that's it for our Tiffin Red Bay Service Center video. We just wanted to share what it's like to be there, share everything that we got done. We had a really great experience. Honestly, they did super work. They didn't push back on anything we asked for. There were people there not as long as us, some people there longer. Just depends how long your list is and how complex the work is that needs to be done. So seeing Tiffin's commitment to customer service and putting their money where their mouth is was very, very positive for us. We would highly recommend Tiffin Motorhomes to anybody looking. We would also recommend going in your first year to get warranty work done at Tiffin by Tiffin. It was a great experience. We met a lot of nice people. The employees are fantastic. Didn't meet a single ugly person as an employee. Everybody was so kind and friendly. And we met a lot of other Tiffin owners who were also amazing. It's really not a bad place to have to hang out for a while at all. And we're grateful to Bob Tiffin for creating this awesome company and continuing to keep it great over the years.